Maybe I could just sit here and lie, but that'll feel strange. And rap about all this shit I ain't got, and not the real thing. See, you know me, I made it out, and that's a real change.
Why my bun like it's kind of going down? Fuck. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Tyrena, and I am here with another video. So today's video is going to be something that I haven't done yet. This one is actually a story time, and this story is going to be about the time that my ex cheated on me and I walked in on it. Girl, let's talk about it though. So before we even get started, y'all, I just want to ask that y'all please subscribe to my channel. I am trying to reach my first goal of 5,000 subscribers, and that can only be done with the help of y'all. So please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, and if you like this video, please make sure you hit that thumbs up button as well. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we're gonna start all the way from the beginning. So this happened whenever I was 19 years old. Okay, yeah, whenever I was 19 years old, this is whenever this happened. So, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and start all the way from the beginning. So first things first, and I'm not gonna say anybody's names. Maybe I'm not gonna use fake names, but I'm not gonna say anybody's name. I don't wanna disrespect anybody, whatever. But we're gonna get the honest truth. Honestly, this is what happened, and it is what it is. We've moved past it, and yeah. So let's just start from the beginning. So whenever, I was working somewhere, and my ex's sister, she actually worked at the same place that I was working at. And at this time, my ex, he wasn't even living here. He was living in a whole nother state, but his sister and the rest of his family, well, some of his family was living where I live at. So me and his sister were working together. We ended up getting very cool, got very close with each other, hanging out every single day, and everything was cool. Like I said, me and her, we built a very great friendship. So, and I met her mother, her brothers and sisters. I just had a very great relationship with them. And later on down the road, probably like a couple months later, like after me and her had already been cool for like at least more than 6 months, her brother ended up moving down here. Now, whenever he moved down here, he moved down there with his then girlfriend. And they came down. Everything was still cool. You know what I'm saying? I met him, but I wasn't really around him like that. But everything was still cool. His girlfriend that he brought down here with him, if I'm not mistaken, she didn't have any family here. So, I mean, his family was her family at that moment. And once again, let's go ahead and let this be known. I was good friends with his sister. Now, remind you, there was times where his girlfriend, where we would be around each other, of course, because like I said, she didn't have any family here. So his family was her family. So there were times where me and his sister would be hanging out, and of course she would be around. But once again, that was not my friend. His sister, that was my friend. That's who I shared my personal business with. That's who I talked with about everything. You know what I'm saying? So, long story short, months down the road, they end up breaking up. Now, with them breaking up, she doesn't have any family here. And his mom is not the kind of woman to be like, oh, well, y'all not together anymore, we're done with her. No, his mom is not like that. She's a good woman. So her thing is she doesn't have any family here, but you brought her down here. She's still a part of our family. So no matter what, she was still going to be around. So we end up, me and him end up getting together. First, we just ended up chilling, and then we ended up getting together. Now, this is like a couple months down the road after they've already broken up. And once again, she's going to be around just because of the simple fact that his mom has let her, that's a part of her family now, you know what I'm saying? And she doesn't have any family here, and she was going to leave her out. So me and him, we ended up getting together, and I was very unapologetic about it. I don't feel like I owed her anything. I did not owe her an explanation. I did not owe her an apology, nothing like that, because I was not her friend. Granted, we were around each other, but let me make emphasis on, she was not my friend. I was good friends with his sister, point blank, period. I mean, even after the situation happened and we had choice words, I made that same exact statement. You were not my friend, so I did not owe you anything. I'm a very good friend, you know what I'm saying? And so once again, we ended up getting together. So he had his own apartment. Well, he ended up getting his own apartment, and I was always over there. I would always go over there. I would stay the night all the time. So eventually it became one of those things where it was just like, okay, well, we might as well go ahead and move in together. Now, granted, my mom was like, girl, no, what are you doing? But I was like, okay, whatever. So me being the hard-headed Leo that I am, I'm like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Like, I feel like this is the right thing to do, so this is what I'm gonna do. So we ended up moving in together, and in the beginning things were cool. Looking back on it, I was like, there were some things that I just was not cool with. Like, okay, let me just go ahead and say this. It's okay. I love a man that loves his mother. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? If you want to know how a man's going to treat you, look how he treats his mother. I love that. But I also feel like whenever you get into a relationship, you have to know how to balance your mother and your relationship. Like, your mother should not be so deep into your relationship. You know what I'm saying? So there were things like that was going on where I felt like it was just too much. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom doesn't get into my relationships like that. Of course, she's going to make sure I'm good. She's going to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, I'm being treated right. But she's going to let me live within my relationship. She's not going to overstep her boundaries. Sometimes I felt like there were some boundaries that were being overstepped. But that's neither here nor there. That's in the past. But we ended up moving in together. Everything was cool. It was just like any other relationship. You have your ups, you have your downs. Now, in the midst of this, me and his sister ended up falling out. It wasn't like we ever argued about anything. I just think it was one of those things where I got into a relationship with him, and all that time I had been spending with her, I was now spending that time with him. And I don't feel like, I feel like maybe I wasn't doing a good job of balancing the friendship with her and the relationship with him. So me and her relationship just ended up kind of dissolving out. And that was that. It just was, I learned a lot throughout that relationship, a lot. And I'm thankful for that relationship because it taught me what I'm willing to accept and what I'm not going to accept. Simple as that. Because sometimes, like I said, sometimes it was just too much. But there were also good times. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was a very cool guy, very, very nice, very funny. But sometimes I felt like he was entirely too nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm more or less one of those people like, okay, you do me wrong, I'm done with you. He was more or less one of those people like, okay, you do me wrong, I'll give you like 15 more chances. And no, that's just not how I operate. So it reminds you, at this time, y'all, we were young. Like, I was like 19 and he's like 3 or 4 years older than me. So he was young. Like, we were both very young, playing in house basically. And like I said, we had our ups, we had our downs. So eventually his guy cousin ended up moving in with us, which that was cool. His cousin was cool. That was all fine. Like I said, throughout that time, there were things that happened that I'm not gonna go into all of that, but there were things that happened where I was just like, I don't even know. So months down the road, you know how like sometimes you get that feeling where it's like, something doesn't feel right. So I had one of those kind of feelings. Something in me knew that something wasn't right. Now at this time, he wasn't working. He had stopped working at the place he was working at, and at this current time, I was working at a call center. So I would usually get up every morning at like 6:30. I had to be to work at 8. We would usually get off at 4 or 5. Or if I had overtime, I would have to stay later. So everything was cool, but I felt something in my gut that was telling me like, okay, Tyrenajewel, something's not right. So I will never forget this day at all. And oh my goodness. So I woke up that morning and it was about 6:30. I woke up, I was getting ready to take a shower because I had to go to work. And I was like, whenever I get into the shower, that's whenever I particularly like to pray, just because that's whenever I feel the most by myself, at peace, deep into my thoughts. So whenever I get into the shower, I pray. So that morning, I will never forget, and I promise you, like, this is the honest to goodness truth. Like, I woke up, got into the shower, and whenever I got into the shower, I specifically asked God, please give me a sign if I'm making the right decision. Just give me a sign if I'm making the right decision. And it's crazy. I asked him, I said, just please give me a sign if I'm making the right decision. And that was that. I went on about my day. So I got dressed, went to work. So as I'm sitting at work, there at the call center, I don't know, every call center could be different, but at the call center that I was working at, it was like you had this one guy who set up on a stool that was higher than everybody else's chairs, and he was the guy that told you when to go on break and things of that nature. So he walks up to me and he's like, hey, are you ready to go on break? And I'm like, no, not right now. I was like, maybe in like an hour or two. And so he was like, okay. So he started to walk away, and I promise you, with like the second he turned around to walk away, it was as if something came over me and was like, no, you need to get off right now and you need to go home. So I trusted my intuition, and I promise you, like, I felt it. Like, I felt it in my gut. I felt it. And so I followed my intuition. I was like, hey, wait a minute. I was like, yeah, I am actually ready to go on break. I was like, but I don't care, I could say her name because that was my homegirl. I was like, can Jasmine come along with me, please? And he was like, yeah, that's cool. He was like, y'all want to go now? And I'm like, yeah, we need to go now. So me and Jasmine, we get up, we leave. So I'm talking to her and I'm like, hey, where do you want to go for lunch? So she's like, oh, well, we could go to Sonic because it's right down the road. I said, cool. But first, I need for you to go to my house with me because something doesn't feel right. And she was down. Okay, cool, not a problem. So we drive to the apartment, and before I get out the car, she's like, do you want me to get out with you? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I was like, but don't come inside with me. I said, just stand outside the door, and if somebody comes out, let me know. So she's like, okay, cool. She's down with it. It's not like she's like, no, I don't want to do this. No, she's completely down with it. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I walk into the house, and his cousin was in the living room. Okay, so like whenever you walked into the house, it was like a little small hallway, and then your immediate left, you had a kitchen, and then you went this way and it was like an open area to the living room, and then over here you had the bathroom on this wall, and then you had the bedroom on this wall. So immediately I walk into the living room because I see his cousin sitting on the couch. So, but whenever I walk in, his cousin is kind of giving me this very weird look, which I felt like, looking back on it, I'm like, why couldn't he have just said something? Instead of me making a fool of myself, why couldn't his cousin had just been real and looked at me and just been like, hey, because regardless, he knew that I was going to find out. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knew that I was going to find out because I was going to go into the room and see it. But instead, his cousin, like, he just looked at me. And so I'm like, dang, what's up? And he's just looking crazy, y'all. Like, just looking real stupid. And so I'm like, okay. So I turn around and I go to my bedroom door. So when I get to the bedroom door, I go to open the door, but it's locked. So I'm like, okay, it's the middle of the afternoon. I think it's like 1:30, 2 o'clock. No, I think it was like 2 o'clock. So I'm like, why is the door locked? And if he in the house just with his cousin, why is the door locked? So I twist it again, still locked. So then I just start, you know what I'm saying, you already know. I got myself in the door, point blank period. Got myself in. So now whenever you walk into the bedroom, you can't immediately see everything in the bedroom. Whenever you first walk in, there's a wall right there with a closet. And then on the other side of you, there's a wall and a closet too. But that's neither here nor there. But there's a wall right there with the closet. So it's not until you maybe take like 4 or 5 steps into the room where you see the bed that's on this wall. So I open the door and the lights are off. So I'm like, but I don't really hear anything. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I turn the corner, and that's whenever I see him hopping up and she's hopping up and she's butt ass naked, you feel me? And the reason why it pissed me off the most is because, and it's just like, nigga, why? Is because, okay, you gonna cheat, cool, but you're really gonna have the audacity, because if I would have never came, I would have never known. Because remind you, I'm not cool with her, obviously, and at this point in time, I'm not cool with her sister. So even with his sister, so even if she would have told his sister, it wasn't like his sister was gonna come tell me. So my issue is like, if I would have never walked in, because I knew him like that, I knew he would have never changed the sheets. So you would have let me walk into this house, lay in this bed where you just got done fucking a bitch. And excuse my language. But that is just disgusting to me. And because I know him, I knew that he would not, I know for a fact he would not have changed the sheets, and he would not have got his ass up and cleaned the sheets. So if I would have never walked in, he would have allowed me to lay back in a comforter where somebody he just slept with. Disgusting, right? I know. So I walk in, and like, he's hopping up, she's hopping up. So let's just go ahead and be real. Of course, boom, trigger. So the first thing I do is I see it, and so then I immediately turn around. Immediately I turn around, I walk back to the living room, I look at his cousin, and I proceed to take off my earrings, take off my sandal, take off anything that would have caused any harm to me. You know what I'm saying? Took off my earrings, took off my sandals, all of that. And I turned right back around and went right back into the room. And why she wasn't out the house by now, I have no clue at all. But I walk into the room, and I go buck wild crazy. Simple as that. I go buck wild crazy. So eventually he gets a hold of me, and he pushes me into the bathroom. So he pushes me into the bathroom. So I'm going even crazier, because anybody knows that whenever you are mad, don't put me in an enclosed space. Especially don't put me in no small space whenever you know I'm red hot mad. You know what I'm saying? So he has me in the bathroom, basically giving her time to run out of the house. So then I hear my friend outside yelling, you know what I'm saying? Tyrena, she's outside, she's running. Homegirl runs outside butt naked. You feel me? Was she butt naked, or did she not just have a bra on? Regardless, she was naked in some way, shape, or form. I can't remember if she had on shorts, but I know for a fact she didn't have on a shirt. So she runs outside. So I'm punching him, I'm pushing him. Get the fuck off of me. Get me out of this fucking bathroom. You feel me? Like, you're a piece of shit. I don't want to fucking talk to you. You're disrespectful. Simple as that. Like, that's the ultimate disrespect. Like, not only do you cheat, but you was so easy to do it in the place where I lay my head at. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't do it at your sister's house. You couldn't, well shit, we gonna get to that too, but you couldn't do it somewhere else. Instead, you wanted to do it right where I lay my head at. Ultimate disrespect in my eyes. I'm sorry, just the ultimate disrespect. So I finally get out the bathroom, I run outside, and my homegirl, she points to the building where his sister lived at, because his sister, they lived, like, his apartment building was right here, hers was right over there. She was like, she pointed in that direction, so I automatically knew where she ran. So I take off to his sister's apartment. So I'm knocking on her door, and his sister opens the door, and she's pretty much confused. She don't know what's going on, you know what I'm saying? So I'm really not trying to hear nothing that she's saying at all. So I walk in her house, like, trying to figure out, where did she go? Is she in your bedroom? She in where? So I think that she was in her bedroom. And so his sister is basically telling me, like, you know what I'm saying, you need to go, you need to get out, like, y'all doing too much, da da da. Which I understand, because that was her place. So I absolutely understand. But at that point in time, at that God-given moment, I wasn't trying to hear any of that. So I'm trying to get into her bed. I think it was her bedroom. I'm trying to get into her bedroom, but of course the door is locked. So at this point in time, I'm just talking shit. You know what I'm saying? Just like you would expect for me to do. So then I end up leaving. And so me and my homegirl, we outside. By this time, all the neighbors are outside. So everybody done seen everything. Everybody done. And at this point in time, I'm looking a hot mess. And I give this many fucks. This, 0, that's how many fucks I gave. And I knew I was looking crazy. And so I go back into the house. I get my stuff. I'm like, bro, like, I'm done with you. You disrespectful. Like, I'm just over it. A hot mess. Now, remind you, this all happens within a span of maybe 15 minutes. This all happens in like that time span. And so like I'm done with you, like I'm good, like we're good, whatever. So I get back in the car because I still gotta get my homegirl back to work at the end of the day. And she's like, girl, are you good? I'm like, I'm just over it, whatever. So we get back to my job, and so she walks in first. And so I'm like in the car trying to get myself together. Then I'm like, I don't even care. So whenever I walk back into work, y'all, I'm not even gonna lie. I walked in, weave looking crazy, all over the place, My shirt was ripped. One of my sandals was hanging off. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't care. I wasn't even in my right state of mind. But I also didn't have time to be losing a job either. So I walked in there just looking a hot mess. So obviously it showed. Me looking a mess showed, because my supervisor ended up walking up to me. He's like, whoa, wait a minute. What's going on? So he takes me into his room, into his office, and he's like, what's going on? And I just break down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just completely break down. I tell him what's going on. And he actually ends up explaining to me like, dang, like, that's messed up. He was like, that actually happened to me last year with my girlfriend. Like, same exact thing. I walked in on her cheating on me too. So like, he sympathizes with me. He's just like, and to remind you, this happened on a Friday. So he sympathizes with me, and he's like, just go home for the rest of the weekend. Just go home. Just come back Monday. Come back, you know what I'm saying, good and ready to work. I'm like, okay, cool. So I go get into my car, and I just completely break down, y'all. And now remind you, my mom, she's a teacher, and she at this current time, she's still at work, and she's not picking up her cell phone. So I say forget it, and I just call the school. And so whenever I call the school, they're like, so whenever I call the school, I'm like, I need to talk to my mom, point blank, period. So at first, it's like they're not trying to give her the phone, but then I start buck wild going crazy. You know what I'm saying? So they end up getting my mom finally, and she's like, what's going on? So I'm telling her everything that's going on. And my mom isn't the kind of person to be like, oh, I told you so. But she sympathizes with me. You know what I'm saying? And so, y'all, let me just tell you how stupid I am. Now, remind you, I specifically asked God to give me a sign. That was my sign. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, y'all. But that was my sign. That should have been my sign, like, girl, no, go about your business. It's not the right thing. But, y'all, so after this happens, I go home, and of course, at first, like, we don't talk. Like, we're not talking, whatever. But we end up talking, and I made the decision, even though I asked God to give me a sign, I still made the decision to be with him. I still decided we can work it out. You know what I'm saying? He's telling me like, we got this, da-da-da-da. So once again, even though I asked for a sign and I was given that sign, I still stayed with him after walking in on him cheating on me. Saying that now, I'm like, girl, what, like, girl, you had to have been stupid. Like, just real stupid. Like, I can't even tell y'all what I was thinking in my head whenever I decided to make, why does my earring keep falling out? I can't even tell y'all what I was thinking in my head whenever I decided to make that work. But I decided to stay, ended up staying with him. So, for a couple weeks, for only a couple, maybe like 3 weeks. For like 3 weeks, everything is going cool. Everything is good. You know what I'm saying? Things aren't all the way back to normal, but at the same time, I've let things go. You know what I'm saying? Literally, 3 weeks down the road, one night, because like I said, me and his sister, like, we wasn't cool no more. So one night he's like, oh, I'm gonna go to my sister's house and drink and stuff and da 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 da. I'm like, okay, cool. Now remind you, I know no matter what, his ex is still going to be around, for the simple fact, once again, like I told y'all, she had no family here, and for whatever reason she didn't go back to where she came from. I don't know. So he goes over there. Now I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm trusting him, which is stupid after what had just happened, which is stupid. And thinking about it now, I'm just like, girl, get your life. So he ends up going. And I'm just in the house chilling, watching TV, whatever. But whenever he went over there, I think it was like 8 o'clock. And so he comes back around like 11 o'clock. And so I'm thinking he's coming back like, okay, he's in for the night. But he's like, oh no, I just came to grab something. I'm going back over there. I'm like, okay, so when do you plan on coming back? You know what I'm saying? And I can't remember exactly what time he said. So he ends up going again. You know what I'm saying? He ends up going back to his sister's house. So at this point in time, him and his cousin are over there. The cousin that lives with us. They're both over there. So I'm just in the house by myself. And now, which, looking, I don't know. It's a hot mess. So he ends up going. 11 o'clock, like I said, he came back. Then he ends up leaving again. So his cousin ends up coming back to the house around like 1:30 in the morning. And so his cousin comes into the room and we're just talking and stuff. And then he goes and he lays down. But at this time, my boyfriend still is not back. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still not back from his sister's house. I end up falling asleep. I wake up in the morning, he's still not back. And remind you, I'm an early bird. So I'm up at like 6:37, he's still not back. So remind you, I'm not going to press you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to press you. I'm not about to call you 105 times. Now I will, you know what I'm saying? Don't fuck with me. But I'm like, at this point in time in my head, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm about done with this. Like, I'm about done. So I'm not pressing him. I'm not calling him. He comes strolling. I'm getting ready to leave and go somewhere. He comes strolling back in the house at like, I think it was like 11 o'clock that morning. He's strolling back in the house. And so I'm getting ready to leave. And so whenever he walks in, I'm like, I was like, you know something? I'm about to go. I was like, but I could see it. I lied to y'all not. I could see it in his face that he had did some dirt. You know how sometimes like people, you got some guys who they could do a girl wrong and nothing will ever show on their face. They're just emotionless. But with him, he's not emotionalist. Like, I could tell that something, that he was feeling guilty about something. So I looked at him and I was like, you cheated on me last night, didn't you? And he didn't say nothing. He couldn't look me in my face. And I was like, yeah, you did. And then he just put his head down. And I'm like, bruh, I'm done with you. Like, I'm good on you. I'm done. So I end up leaving, doing what I have to do. And then I end up coming back. And he wasn't at the house. But whenever I get into our bedroom, there's a note. You know what I'm saying? And in the note, he's basically just saying like, yes, he did cheat on me. And he's sorry and da-da-da-da, blah, 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 blah. So we end up arguing. And he ends up coming back to the house. We end up arguing. And I ended up leaving at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I ended up leaving. And I was just done. I was just completely done. I packed all my things, put it in a suitcase, called a taxi, and because at this time I didn't have a car anymore, which I'll get on that as well. Let me just tell you how. So I ended up calling a taxi, had a taxi take me to my grandmother's house, and knocked on my grandma's door at like 2 o'clock in the morning. She let me in. She put me in one of her back rooms, and yeah, that's exactly how that went. That's exactly how that ended, and that was that. You know what I'm saying? That was a lot for a 19-year-old. Do I regret the situation? No, because it taught me a lot. And we all go through things for a certain reason. Nothing is a mistake. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thankful for that lesson because it taught me a lot. You know what I'm saying? But that was a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that sometimes people understand, men and women both. I sometimes don't think that they understand that their actions can sometimes mold a person, because his actions made me have a very hard exterior, like just very hard. Like after that, I didn't want to let nobody in. I didn't take guys seriously. No, it altered who I was before I met him. You know what I'm saying? Like, before I met him, it wasn't so hard for you to see my feelings. But after that situation, it made me have a very hard exterior. It made me look at guys differently. You know what I'm saying? But once again, I'm thankful for that, because it also helped me in a lot of ways. It helped me understand a lot of things in a lot of ways. It helped me understand what I'm willing to accept and what I'm willing not to accept. You know what I'm saying? And that was that. Now, I can say, as of today, we are cool. We don't have any issues. I have no hate towards him. Yeah, that's that. Like, we're cool now. But I've always wanted to have the conversation with him, like, why? Why? Because even after you did it the first time and I walked in on you, you then went back, after I let you back in, you then went back and just a couple weeks later, you did the same exact thing. No, we can't be, like, why? Why? If you knew that you wanted to still do that, you should have just then, whenever I walked in on you the first time, you should just be like, I'm good. But instead, you were telling me like, no, I'm sorry, that won't happen again, da-da-da, whatever. Now, with that being said, the one thing that also disgusted me the most about this whole situation is that you really find out how malicious people are. Like, her will never, there's never, once again, we were not friends, but I will never be cool with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, ever in life, I don't. And sometimes, and I still see her to this day, I still see her, but I've grown since that situation, so I know how to see you and keep it pushing. Or if you come to my job and I have to interact with you, I know how to interact with you, and then whenever you leave, I'm done with you. Simple as that. But with her, way too malicious for me. She did some very dirty and malicious things. Like, one thing that she did, and it shows the character of a person, and it shows why people never have good luck. One time, I came home and I got in the shower, took a shower or whatever, and then I was getting ready to brush my teeth. Now, thankfully, my mother raised someone who checks their surroundings and doesn't just put things in their mouth and stuff like that. And so, like, I'm looking at my toothbrush and I'm like, something don't look right. You know what I'm saying? Like, my bristles were kind of like all over the place. I'm like, something does not look right. What in the world? So I used my finger at that moment because something about my toothbrush just did not look right to me. So I used my finger, I brushed my teeth. So do you know that I ended up finding out that this girl came into the house, took my toothbrush, and I think that she said that she scrubbed it on the toilet. I know the toilet for a fact. I can't remember where else she scrubbed it at. But she took my toothbrush and she did that in hopes that I would brush my teeth with that toothbrush and then I guess have yuck mouth. But how bored and how malicious do you have to be as a human being to do something like that? Then another time, I ended up coming outside one day and I had I don't remember what year it was, but I had a black Stratus, a black two-door Stratus, and she flattened all 4 of my tires. All four, baby. All four. Now, remind you, at that time, that car was already giving me trouble anyway. So, I mean, good job, but not good job. Because the car was already giving me lots of trouble. But you're that bored in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff like that's why, like, people like that, no, I never want to have a conversation with you. I never want to be cool with you. And you should be very careful, because you get what you give. Just always remember that you always get what you give. Simple as that. And that's that. Like, it was crazy. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. And it was a lot. Being that young, that was a lot. And I'm just thankful that I didn't let it ruin me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad that I didn't let it ruin me. But that definitely was a lot to go through at that point in time in my life. And I don't wish that upon nobody, because it was very hurtful as well. Like, it was hurtful. It was hurtful to see somebody who you truly cared about just not care about you within those few minutes. They just don't care about you. You want to get a nut off that bad that you just don't even care about my feelings. You know what I'm saying? And because he just gave you something to do because you had all this extra time on your hand, because at this time you weren't working, it's whack to me. But once again, we're past that. I'm cool with him. He's cool with me. And I actually plan on doing a video with him where I'm gonna let him I want to ask him some questions about why did you do it? What made you do it? If you could change anything, would you? I mean, I think that would be interesting to see his point of view, because y'all got my point of view, but his point of view might be different than mine. He might feel like, oh, well, I did it because of this, or I did it because of that, or you weren't giving me this, or whatever. I don't know. I want to know why, after I caught you the first time, why did you feel like it was okay to go back and do it a second time? That's all I want to know. But once again, I'm cool, he's cool. I'll never be cool with her. And yeah, that's that. Like, yeah, it's crazy, y'all. Woo! Very, 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 very crazy. Yeah. But lonely. Sorry, my earring really keeps falling out. But I hope that y'all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure that you hit that thumbs up button and show your girl some love. And once again, y'all, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I am trying to reach my first goal of 5,000 subscribers, and as you know, that can only be done with the help of y'all. So help your girl out. And all my gorgeous jewels, you already know, always do you. Always stay true to you, boo. And stay gorgeous, stay fabulous, and just live your best life. You know? Yeah, that way. Nah, I'm playing. But for real, y'all, I hope all y'all have a great day. And it is your girl, Tyrena, signing